Good evening and welcome back to FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Summer Trolley with your Tuesday edition of FSU Weather. Currently, we're looking at 91 degrees in Tallahassee here right over Doak Campbell Stadium. It's partly cloudy out. We got some slight winds about 5 miles per hour. And over here in Tallahassee, we have the nice hot spot at 91 degrees sitting over us. And a little further north, it's 88 in Quincy. And if you go towards the coast, it's about 87 in Apalachicola, cooling down near the sea there. 66 the dew points. It's really not that bad here. It's 60s across the board here in the Big Bend area. Nothing too bad that we're looking at right now for the dew points, that is. And in the radar, again, it's pretty clear skies here in Tallahassee and across the entire Big Bend area here. Really clear skies. Some scattered storms popping up once in a while, but again, nothing to worry about. And right now, it's the first show of the year, so welcome back, everybody. And in our show today, we're going to do hurricane preparedness and Idalia resources. And it's heating up in the southwest, looking at scorching conditions today in Texas and Oklahoma.
Yes, thank you so much, Summer. As she was saying, this is our first show of the fall semester of the 2023 to 2024 school year. So exciting. We have a lot of topics to cover today. Nico, what are some things we'll be talking about?
One thing we'll definitely be talking about is how hot it's going to be in Tallahassee this week and increasing moisture with potential for afternoon storms returning by the end of the week into this weekend.
Yes, and speaking of storms, we are keeping our eyes close to the tropics even after still recovering from Idalia last week, and we're going to show you some efforts, but we must keep our eye on the Atlantic Basin and see what's going on. So we'll pass it on over to Josh at the wall. Josh, what are we looking at?
That's right, everybody. Get into its golden hour, and we're just seeing beautiful skies all around. We are seeing some partly cloudy conditions. 91 right now is our temperature. And as we go into our radar, we are seeing just absolutely nothing going on. We are seeing a bit of showers over here, but it's nothing to be super concerned about. Just go outside, make sure to enjoy the beautiful weather. And as we move on, we're going to be going on to our current temperatures. We're hanging around 91 our hotspot, and we're going to be mainly hanging around the low 80s for the low 90s for our general viewing area. 80 at St. Mark's, 87 at Apalachicola. As we go on to our temperatures for today, we're mainly at 95 as our high and 69 as our low. So now keep in mind, 95 is not too far off from 101, which was our record from 1925. Can't you believe it? I can't either. It's been that long. But I will say, unlike our astounding temperatures and how close we are to our record high, we're nowhere near as close to any uncomfortable temperatures. So right now our dew points are mainly just hanging around the mid to upper 60s. Nothing super bad. So I recommend going outside, enjoying the weather. I will be, because I'm going outside to meet up with some friends, and just make sure to have a good time. Our future radar is showing no clouds, some clouds coming through, but very little clouds overall. They're just pushing off to our east and just going through very nicely and preparing for beautiful conditions for the next 48 hours. So as I say, go outside, but make sure to wear that sunscreen, because that sun's going to be hot. Tonight we're going to be mainly hanging around around the upper 60s through our general viewing area. It'll be cloudy in some areas, but right now, overall, it's not going to be super uncomfortable. So make sure you go outside and enjoy that beautiful weather. As I said earlier, we're going to be in the cloudy areas. We're going to be cloudy in Valdosta and Madison, but we're going to be clear throughout the rest of the area. Low 70s, upper 60s is what we should expect. Now for tomorrow, make sure to keep an eye on, as I said, make sure to bring that sunscreen, make sure to bring your hats and sunglasses. We'll be hanging around 95 degrees for our high today, for our high tomorrow, and we'll be having a slight breeze. Finally, as we go tomorrow, we're going to be expecting, again, low to mid 90s from 90 to St. Mark's to our hotspot 95 in Tallahassee. Make sure, as I said, make sure to drink water, wear sunglasses, stay out of the sun as much as possible. And as we look into our week ahead, we're going to be mainly hanging around the mid to upper 90s for our highs, low 70s for our lows, and we are going to be watching out for that rain coming in through next weekend. Now, I'm going to pass it off to Nico for look at our Florida weather.
Yes, thank you, Josh. Yeah, you can definitely tell it is going to be a very hot week. You can even see the hot sun coming out all across Florida right now. Panama City Beach is your cool spot compared to the other ones, which are all in the 90s. And then you have Miami has a little bit cooler because they did have the sea breeze down that far south. But as you can see, all around the state, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 80s to the low 90s. Earlier today, we were actually in the 90s at 95 degrees, well above average for this time of the year, but at least it's not as bad as what we had been seeing when we were near 100. As you look at Miami, though, looking at South Florida, the next 3 days, you're going to be right around 92 degrees, a little bit cooler on Wednesday, but it's not going to be a noticeable difference for those people down in South Florida. It will be humid because South Florida tends to stay much more humid than the rest of the state. As for Tampa, you do tend to have a little bit more warmth when you do have the sea breeze out of the east, but it is going to be warm, slightly drier, but your chances of rain are going to stay relatively low as you do head into the end of the week. Now for Orlando, you can immediately point out, you can see storms Friday afternoon along the sea breeze, so if you're going to be out and about in Orlando, going to any theme parks, just going around town Friday evening, watch out for showers and storms, be prepared for that as you move into Friday evening. Jacksonville, more of the same story. It is going to be hotter and humider, and when you have your wind out of the west by Friday, because that's what's going to be happening here, these storms are going to intensify as they hit the sea breeze, so you may need to watch for strong to severe storms along the east coast of Florida on Friday afternoon. So definitely pay attention to that. I'm from St. Augustine. I know how the weather pattern tends to be out here. So Friday afternoon, keep in mind that that is an afternoon to watch out here. Now Pensacola, you start getting moisture a little bit earlier coming in from the west on Thursday. So for Pensacola, you have to worry about afternoon storms on both potentially Thursday and Friday. So that's definitely something to pay attention to if you need to do something in the afternoon. Wednesday is going to be your afternoon to do it under drier conditions. But looking at your radar across the state right now, it's very dry. Unless you have a boat way out in the Gulf of Mexico, you aren't going to see any rain this evening. It's going to be dry. It's a good evening to go out and about, although it is a little bit warm. Maybe a few showers in the Everglades, south of Naples, east of Naples. And that's about it pretty much around South Florida. Central Florida, you don't have anything at all right now. So if you're out and about in Orlando, Tampa, Cape Canaveral, you're not going to be seeing much of anything this evening except some sun and maybe a few passing clouds. Up around here in Tallahassee, you're not going to see much of anything either. You may be able to see some clouds offshore west of Panama City from these showers and storms, but on land you're not going to see much of anything this evening. It will stay dry. As you look into tomorrow and Thursday, you can see the storms that pop up west of here on Thursday evening. They should stay west of Tallahassee, but those will move closer to us on Friday. So if you're going to be west of Tallahassee Thursday evening, that's an evening to pay attention to the weather. If you're going to be anywhere else in Florida, we should be able to squeeze in one more dry evening on Thursday. And then as you move into Friday and Saturday, the radar did freeze, but Friday and Saturday are going to be active. I have been paying attention to the trends and the models, and it is getting wetter. But looking around Florida tonight, actually going to be a bit cooler than average because of the low humidity. But tomorrow, we warm right back up to warmer than average temperatures, 95 in Tallahassee again, 95 in Jacksonville, 93 in Orlando. It will be a hot day to be out and about. But now I'm going to pass things off to Aaron.
Really appreciate it, Nico. So we're actually going to zoom out here to kind of talk about the Southeast and how things are shaping up across the region. Now, if you look behind my head here, we see Nashville, Tennessee, and over to Charlotte, North Carolina in the 90s and the 80s respectively here. And over towards the Gulf Coast, New Orleans, and over to Tampa as well. 90 degrees, those fair weather clouds, awesome day to go outside. And actually even lower dew points too across the area, which makes it feel a lot better this time of year, of course, in the summertime where we're just in misery with just sweat, right? So across the southeast here, we have this big old high right behind me here, and that's what it's doing is bringing in that southerly air right from the bottom from the Caribbean into the Gulf and over into the southeast. And we also have that low pressure area behind me as well, also allowing for that wind to come out of the south and the southwest. What that's doing is allowing a little bit of moisture, at least perhaps around the coastline, but overall still a really nice day, especially inland where we have those lower dew points in the 60s, right? Who ever would have heard that in September, right? So current temperatures across the region right now, 91 New Orleans, 90 Tallahassee, 86 Miami. Overall, general same pattern across the entire area with also mid-90s up along at least across the northern areas of our region. And then 99, that's the bullseye there near Shreveport. So ouch, it's really hot there. Current winds are pretty calm. Again, we have that relatively southeasterly wind-ish coming out of the Atlantic and the Gulf here, kind of bringing in from the Gulf here. So what it's doing is kind of allowing these winds to kind of be a little bit more calm and allowing for a tad more moisture, especially as you get towards New Orleans. And for your weekend weather map here, we have that high. It's going to book on out here. We have that low pressure right here. It's going to spin in. That may allow for some convection later on this weekend or so into the day on Friday and Saturday, but until we eventually clear things out and have another shot for some drier air. That muggy cast here, we have that more humid air streaming in from the north, especially off towards the west here near Texas and Louisiana. And then we have that slightly drier coming in, just inching there through Mississippi and then into Alabama and then eventually into the Florida Panhandle here on Thursday and Friday as that front progresses through the area. So if you're heading out to New Orleans this weekend, the great state of Louisiana here, these conditions should remain fairly hot there. But what do you think, Genevieve? 92 and raining?
Wow, Aaron. I don't know. Something about 92 and raining just doesn't amaze me. But what does amaze me is the United States National Parks. And guess what? We're going to be looking at the best one because it's the first one in the U.S. ever signed into law. We're talking about Yellowstone National Park. So this was first established in 1872 as the first national park signed into law by Ulysses S. Grant, our president at the time. Park contains over 500 active geysers. That includes Old Faithful, which erupts every 44 minutes to 2 hours since the year 2000, so quite a lot of eruptions. And it has quite high biodiversity with 67 species. That's a lot, right? Now for our temperature almanac for Yellowstone, unfortunately our data isn't coming in for now, but the high for today was up towards 67 and the low at 39. Luckily, not 82. That would be a little bit warm for September. Current conditions, 51 degrees, partly cloudy, not much winds. We're looking at winds at 4 miles per hour coming from the south-southwest. Our temperatures for the region are looking quite nice with the 61 degrees in West Yellowstone and looking pretty similar all around the region going into the upper 60s and low 70s. Dew points, chapstick conditions. We always say that here at FSU Weather when it is quite dry. You want to make sure you keep that chapstick, that lotion in your backpack. Just stay moisturized because it is very dry. And that radar just showing some storms moving into Red Lodge and Cody and Big Timber, so keep that umbrella handy. And those storms are just going to roll in. Red Lodge tonight, you're going to want to stay home if you can because that rain is coming. Now, Yellowstone is a perfect place to go. And especially now when there are about mild to moderate visitors at this time of the year. So please try to get out, enjoy these absolutely beautiful conditions. We're looking at 36-degree low. For tomorrow, 67-degree high. Pretty nice and sunny with those beautiful lows, those nice and mild highs. But Josh, Priscilla, Hurricane Idalia. Let's switch to a topic a little more serious and how we can prepare for the future.
Thank you, Genevieve. So while I hope everyone else was at home, hunkered down, Josh and I were here in the studio reporting live on coverage for Hurricane Idalia. And while the storm has now passed, Perry and the Appalachee Bay, they experienced a lot of effects from Hurricane Idalia, right, Josh?
Yeah, I actually drove through Perry on my way home on Wednesday evening, and it was definitely very devastating and sad to see how much they went through. I saw some buildings lost the roofs. We even saw a picture of a gas station toppled over, and we even saw the cops were having to help them out and ensure that they got back to normal and they kept the community safe.
Yes, Hurricane Idalia was the first recorded hurricane to strike through the Appalachee Bay, and a lot of our more rural communities were a lot more vulnerable to Hurricane Idalia. I know I have my roommate has a home in Steinhatchee, and they experienced a lot of damage from their house, and their neighbors, their house is now unlivable currently. So these damages, these winds toppling over that gas station that we've got on the screen right there, it's very serious effects, and they really hit our most rural communities.
Yeah, so yeah, it was very devastating to see that as well. And I'm really sorry for your friend whose family lost their home. I hope they're doing a lot better. But as we go on to pre-storm advice, so that way you guys are not only more prepared for storms that come ahead, but you know how to avoid these natural disasters and get out of these through the best way possible. Stay weather aware. Make sure you keep track of the weather as you prepare for these storms. Not only if you're in the cone of uncertainty, but also if you're out, because again, hurricanes shift and they can make small shifts can make a big difference.
Yes, exactly. And especially, I want to add, if you're a student, preparing for hurricanes is a little bit different. You want to make sure you're always keeping in touch with those National Hurricane Center updates, as well as your local emergency management. Here at FSU, we have FSU Alert, which you can subscribe to get text notifications, which can be very helpful for determining all clear times and whatnot, as well as things like warnings and watches. And make sure to always have your supply kit ready and on hand.
Yeah, if you're affected, you can always go to usa.gov.hurricane Idalia. You can also donate to those who in need, such as organizations like Red Cross, and donate your time and volunteer with cleanups and donation drives.
Yes, but now, Aaron, give us a further look at the tropics. What's going on right now?
That's right. So we are sticking with the tropics train here. Again, very important resources here to keep in mind if you have been affected by Hurricane Idalia last week. But over the Atlantic, we are busy here. I mean, we are basically approaching the statistical, I believe, peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, which I want to say is September 9th, and we are quickly approaching that here. But we do have Lee, which formed here, which was tropical depression number 10 earlier. We now have tropical storm Lee here located, if you're plotting this, 13.2 north, 41.8 west, moving to the west-northwest at 16 miles an hour, pressure down to 1,005 millibars. We also do have another area of interest way out here in the northeastern Atlantic there, so at least if anything might get going, perhaps subtropic briefly. The water, at least the waters here are relatively subpar for these tropical systems to actually really fuel and form it here. Then there's also another system right off the bat here on 96L coming off of Africa. So again, we are sticking here with you guys to give you all the latest of all these waves just coming off and off of Africa here. So very busy this time of year. Now, Tropical Storm Lee, very important, guys, because this one we're going to have to watch over the next several days or so. Many models want to at least shoot this off to the north once it kind of gets near, like just off to the east of the Bahamas as a major hurricane, which is, again, why we need to watch this. 140 mile per hour hurricane conditions expected at least on Saturday here, and normally the Hurricane Center is pretty conservative, at least with their first advisories, their first cones out. So this is pretty robust here, and some of the models are kind of showing a pretty robust monster storm here in the Atlantic. So we'll have to watch over the next several days or so. Here again, those spaghetti plots showing a moving general northwesterly motion and with an expected turn off to the north, but we'll have to watch over the next several days and actually really week or so until this thing kind of gets into our neck of the woods. But water vapor imagery showing the robust hot towers coming up here, so you know that it is starting to intensify here over the next several hours.
Yes, thank you for that, Aaron. We're going to take a slight turn now and look at the southwest. And like Aaron said, we really do need to be on alert for these hurricanes. There we go. Now looking at the southwest. All right, so it's pretty hot down in the southwest. A slide skipped a little bit, but it's definitely hot down there. They have conditions, like the air temperatures in the hundreds down there. If you think it's hot here, it's extremely hot there. But as you can see, there's a lot of dry air over here, and then the dew points are relatively low. It's got 58 in San Angelo, and in Alpine, it's at 39. You can see all the dry air over on that side of Texas. And if you looking up at Oklahoma City, it's about 61, the dew point. So again, not too bad for this time of year. But those feel like temperatures out there. That makes the air extremely dry. And in San Angelo, it's 105 degrees. That's what it feels like out there. Down in Houston, 115 degrees. I know I would not want to be out there right now. I mean, hopefully all those people are prepared with water and such and getting as indoors as they can. And if they're working outdoors, hopefully they have sunscreen. If you can see the current temperature anomalies, so if you're looking at where we're looking in the southwest, it's like positive plus 10 degrees for the current temperature anomalies. And if you're looking down in the Florida area where we are, we're not too far off where we should be right now, but everywhere else is pretty far off from what it should be. And the current radar out here in Texas area, Texas, it's pretty clear right now if you're looking out to the east side of Texas. There is some scattered rain over there. In Oklahoma City, there is some, that's the heat advisory out in Oklahoma City. And the future radar, they have a small storm surge coming through over here in San Angelo. and it's pushing off with lots of cloud coverage coming up over the next few days and into Wednesday. You could see some rain coming up near Dallas and down by Houston. Tomorrow's forecast in the southwest in San Angelo, 104 degrees again. It's going to be nice and toasty there. In Houston, it cools down a little bit at 100 degrees, but still definitely not cool. Out there, hopefully those people are all prepared. And again, in Dallas, for the 4-day forecast, Wednesday's going to be 103 degrees, and throughout the week, it's definitely getting quite warm there, so hopefully those people are all prepared. And now we're going to take a turn to the, thank you.
Yes.
Priscilla, looking at the air quality.
Yes, thank you, Summer. So taking a look at our air quality forecast, we've got some weather things going on up north in Canada. There are some fires, and our current air masses and wind movements are pushing the smoke all the way into the United States and affecting the Midwest. So current smoke alerts, we're seeing northeastern portions of Montana being affected with dense smoke advisories, and larger portions of the Midwest are also experiencing air quality alerts. So it's spanning very large and affecting all those areas. So as well, we've got this system kind of a little bit. We've got a low here with a trough right over here and a clockwise rotation, which is pulling that moisture from the north to the south, or sorry, the smoke, it's pulling the smoke into our Midwestern portions of the United States and really just letting it sit there and build up. As well, our current temperatures are pretty moderate for these areas at this time of year, and it's helping to actually not push those smoke away. So our current dew points, things are looking very dry, and there's not going to be a lot of precipitation in the next couple of days, which is going to cause that smoke to persist, and there will be no rain to weaken the fires that are going on. So as well, you can see this gradient from our more moisture dew points down into our drier ones, affecting larger portions of Montana and Idaho. And as well for the radar, like I was saying, lots of dryness in the mid-central portions of the Midwest, which is going to not help with these fire conditions. Future radar, again, we're not seeing much in the way to help with these conditions, but you know, Genevieve, what's going on with the lifestyle?
Well, Priscilla, yeah, luckily those dry conditions are not here in Tallahassee. I mean, we have actually the opposite. We have quite a lot of moisture, but luckily we have sunny skies at the moment at the FSU Sportsplex, looking quite nice if you want to play a nice little game of soccer with your friends. St. George down by the coast, Panama City as well, and Lake Bradford. I'm not sure what happened to your camera. It's, you know, reaching past 6, closer to 6:30, and the sun is not quite down, so Lake Bradford, I don't know. We have to get the camera sorted down there. Airport delays for Tallahassee International. You have a green, so you are good to go, though it is 91 degrees. Hopefully that plane will take off because there are no storms in the area. We're going to get that green flight, that good flight all the way through for all of our main airports. A scorching 103 in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm hoping that plane is cold. I hope the airport is cold and refrigerated, air conditioned. I don't know why I just said that. I hope that there's some nice air conditioning in the airport giving you some relief. And luckily for those of us in Tallahassee who have quite a bit of allergies, we're looking pretty nice. So feel free to go outside compared to that runny nose or that cough that might appear when it is high pollen alert. Now for those of us with a beautiful dog, just like Nikki here, stunning little dog. Tomorrow morning, feel free to get out. It'll be the nicest conditions of the day at the early morning hours, so 70 degrees at 7 a.m. Sun rising, it's going to be 76 at 9 a.m., so I would get out there between those times. For tonight, if you're doing a little bit of stargazing, we have that yellow, that fair star. So it's not ideal. There will be some clouds, but you can try and go out there to see some stars and the beautiful moon. For our men's golf, we'll be going against Folds of Honor Collegiate, don't know that school personally, but 75 degrees and thunderstorms likely. So in Grand Haven, Michigan, up with our Michiganders, hopefully we'll be able to get a win, and hopefully we'll be able to actually even get out on the green. FSU soccer, I'm going to move out of the way to show Emily Madrill, who I just saw play for Orlando Pride just about 2 weeks ago, luckily enough. FSU soccer will be at 85 degrees, partly cloudy on Thursday. So hopefully another win for us Lady Noles. FSU volleyball versus UCF. Go volleyball. 90 degrees though. It's quite sunny, though we will have clear skies, so that game will hopefully happen. Now down by Shell Point, it's looking pretty nice. That beach cam showing us a beautiful sun, 72 degrees, and not much wind. And if you're going to the beach in the morning, it will look pretty nice. And pretty nice is our common theme at 90 degrees, and we will see 95 for tomorrow as our high, and that continue. Now, Josh, locally, give us more.
Thanks, Genevieve. So as you go to our local, we're right now seeing that it's just nice and clear, especially across the radar. We're seeing some showers right over here near Red Bay, but it's nothing to be worried about. It's very light, and it's gonna disintegrate before it even gets to us. So just enjoy the beautiful weather. Right now we are hanging around low 90s, with the high spot being Tallahassee and the low spot being in Apalachicola at 87. But overall, it's very nice to go outside. And as we are cooling down, it'll just get even better. So dew points, we're currently hanging around the upper 60s, especially 66 in Tallahassee, 68 in Quincy. But overall, it's very nice. I wouldn't mind going outside. I'm planning to go outside right now after this because why not? But I definitely recommend going outside and just the beautiful summer weather, because eventually in a few weeks it'll be fall, and while it'll be cooler for those who love the cool temperatures, for me, I'm not going to enjoy it. So I recommend going outside and taking advantage of it as you can. Now, as Genevieve pointed out, there'll be clouds in the area tonight and also through tomorrow afternoon actually. But for the most part, we're going to be avoiding the clouds, so you'll be able to enjoy that nice, beautiful, sunny weather for those who love it. Just remember to wear that sunscreen and wear that shades. And also don't forget to drink some water, because it's going to be hot outside tomorrow afternoon. Tonight, we're going to be mostly cloudy throughout the area, and we're going to be hanging around the upper 60s, low 70s. Make sure that if you need a jacket, or you're flirting like me, who can't stand anything below 70, make sure to bring that jacket or just that slight hoodie. But overall, we will have calm winds, so we won't have to worry about any wind chill factor of any kind. Tonight, we're going to be hanging around the low 70s, 71 in Tallahassee, 73 down in St. Mark's and in Carabel. So make sure that, so if you're by the coast, it'll be a little bit warmer. But as we move on, we will see that tomorrow it's going to be very, very hot, 95 degrees. And I'm probably expecting it to be even hotter. It's just going to feel even worse. So as I say, make sure to bring your water, bring that sunglasses, and just make sure you take care of yourself and try to avoid being in the sun for too long. We'll also see that same pattern, 95 being the hot spot in Tallahassee. We get a little bit cooler to the coast, but we're mainly going to be around the low to mid 90s. So make sure, as you say, just drink that water and wear that sunscreen. As we were talking about, we'll be seeing some showers possibly on Friday night, Saturday night, so that can impact our game. But as you look ahead, we'll just be mainly in the low 90s for our highs and our low 70s for our lows. So as I say, tomorrow will be beautiful, but just remember, stay shaded, stay hydrated, sunblock. Now, Aaron and Summer, let's close out the show.
Thanks, Josh. Wow, was that a 69 there on the 7-day? I haven't seen that in a long time here in Tallahassee. That's like Arctic tundra weather, right? No, I'm just kidding. But definitely will be a touch cooler here as we have that kind of that drier, slightly cooler air. And I'm in favor for that. How about you, Summer?
Yeah, I agree. It's cooling down here in Tallahassee, and I really do like it. Walking to class earlier today was definitely a lot cooler than last Monday when we had class. So it's definitely cooling down here, but it is still nice and hot once it gets to that mid part of the day, I'd say.
That's right. I mean, we are in the middle of September, so again, besides the heat that we're still kind of in store for the next month and a half or so, we're also still talking tropics as well. We have Lee out in the very, very far away lands of the central Atlantic, where, of course, it is still starting to form now, and it's moving towards the north and west, so we'll have to keep an eye on that over the next several days or so, up to a week, as we expect it eventually to recurve, but, of course, it is September this time of year, and we will keep always our guard on.
Right, those things. So now follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather.
Also, don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather.
And don't forget to watch us live on YouTube like you're doing right now, youtube.com/FSU weather.
And also follow us on Instagram at FSU weather, where you can post or send us pictures, of course, your dog walk forecast. Perhaps your pooch
Right.
might be featured.
Yes, they may be. And don't forget TikTok. We also have a TikTok, so don't forget to look at that if you're interested. And thank you for watching FSU Weather.
Have a good day.